Welcome to my podcast, Sip and Sala, where we lift the lid, spilling the tea on all things marriage, womanhood, and motherhood. So let's sip some tea and pray we get through another day of this shit. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sip and Sala. My name's Aaliyah Sala, and it is episode 12. Now,
12. Wow.
Are you saying that?
What are you knocking these out?
Yeah, I know. I'm actually shocked that I did episode 12.
You're moving.
I feel like so much has happened in my life to tell me, like, you haven't got time to do this, but here I am. So, yeah, it's episode 12, and it's a day late because I'll be honest, I have been to-ing and fro-ing with what episode I wanted to put out next. You're passing the on to me, man. What's wrong with you?
Sharing's Karen.
I'm sitting here with my guy again. I don't even need to introduce him at this point.
You already know.
We should introduce ourselves as the crybabies.
Listen, technically I didn't cry because a tear didn't leave my eye.
Yeah, but that's because I interrupted you.
Oh, you saved me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so episode 12. So I actually did have a slightly different topic, but I do know that from the previous episode and mine and Farhan's conversation that you guys might be like, wait, what next? So I thought it's important to kind of catch up with you all, follow up with you all, and talk more because loads of you thanked us for our honesty and for sharing, the brutal parts about marriage, the honest parts about marriage. So we're back, episode 12. I haven't actually given it a name yet. Do you want to give it a name? Okay, Siri's getting involved now because might not take too long.
The sequel.
No, let's not call it that. I don't like that.
Plot synopsis.
I don't have a clue what plot synopsis is.
Cool.
Okay.
Another follow-up.
Nah, I don't like that. Sounds final. You've got one more opportunity to name this bloody podcast, please. And for the listening people.
Moving forward.
Ooh, is it? No, steady now. Steady now. Okay. Moving forward. So welcome back, everybody. My name's Aaliyah. This is my husband, Farhan.
Hey, guys.
And if you haven't already listened to the previous episode, myself and Farhan have been married now for almost 10 years. And basically, we'd explained to everybody on the previous episodes that we find ourselves constantly going through a loop. So every 3 or so years, we just bump heads. But this final time, it felt a bit more final. It felt a bit more like, we even needed to change the habits or leave it alone. We're just dragging each other at this point. So here we are. We're back. I'll let him start. You named it moving forward. So take it away. Talk to the people. Tell them what has changed from the last episode to now. We don't need to start saying Aaliyah does the dishes and shit. Just to let you know, though. You know what I mean?
I think, since the last episode, I think you've really kind of spearheaded things when it comes to like changing the things that you want to work on and becoming a better person. And I think you're a lot more patient, a lot more understanding. I think also, you're very conscious of how you say something or what you say is going to be received by me, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I'm the one letting the side down because
you are. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah. So I was like, I need this, I need that. I think we just need to do this, and you're like, yeah. And then now it's like, oh I got all this stuff that I got to work. I'm ready to be like, no. And I'm like, oh no, she's not really coming at me. So like, I'm ready to clap back. There's nothing to clap back to. I've got to work. So it's really from I think the best thing I'll say is from one person really trying to make a change, whether they agree with it, disagree with it, but just thinking it actually affects my partner in this big way. That in turn is like so welcome and appreciated, but then it also highlights your part and like how you've been adding to the situation, like the fuel you've been pouring on the fire. So yeah.
I think the whole reason why I really wanted to make, some people got it, some people didn't, but the whole reason why I really wanted to make the last podcast few podcasts anyway, less about you and more about me, is, as you probably all saw from episode 10, when me and Farhan have a conversation, I very easily can fall into the but you. And I don't want to be a but you. I want to be like, you know what, let me just stand in what I say. If I'm a shop that sells sweets, right?
Mm.
And you come and build a shop right next to me, I don't care what you're selling because I'm still selling sweets. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And if you start selling sweets and chocolates and popcorn, I still sell sweets because I put my product out there. That's who I am. That's what I'm selling. I'm not changing it, i.e., my personality. And on the last podcast, I don't know if you listened, but I made it very clear that this wasn't a you issue. You do have things I think you need to iron out, but the issue is with myself. And I do think that just ironing out those issues with myself. And I want you all to know that this has not been a 2 week period for me and Farhan. We've just chosen to speak about it now.
Yeah. So moving forward after 2 weeks.
No, but like there's some people struggle to. I want to normalize like the internet not being real because this part of the internet is real. However, this what we're sharing with you now, and the trauma that we've shared with you, or some of the scars that we've shared with you, we've carried or we've experienced, or we've, me and Farhan, we fell out months ago, not 2 weeks ago. So I want you all to understand that this is not a 2 week turnaround, but we do feel like we owe it to you guys to come back and just update you. But I think what I found from me just focusing on me and not worrying about you is it only holds up a reflection. It only holds up a mirror for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I think you've really taken some strides, and I think it's been challenging. Why are you laughing?
You've only taken some strides.
You have taken some strides. What's wrong with
Feel
that?
like you're my coach. Go ahead,
God
sir. Go
mercy.
ahead.
Yeah, no, I do think you've really taken some strides, and like even when it's been like really like it's not been easy for you to change like certain things, and you're still like but and you're just conscious that you just want to improve yourself,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, it's really highlighted to me like how I've been adding to the situation the whole time. But when you're going backwards and forwards with someone,
Mm,
and you're on opposite sides, you're on team you, and
mm.
you're the victim. You know what I mean? Not for lack of a better word.
No, no, no,
Do you know what I mean?
no,
You're
don't.
on team you, and you're like, "Oh, it's auto, and you just take that hostile position, and then you realize actually, like me taking that hostile position all those times and feeling like hard done by, it's made me miss out on a lot of the like stuff that's valid. Do you know what I mean?
Which is?
Tons of stuff. You know,
Give me an
you,
example.
for example, my forgetfulness. The fact that on top of the forgetfulness, there's just like sometimes I'm just so laid back and I just go through things and I expect things to be okay, and you don't realize that I'm I'm placing additional burden onto you. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many more things. Like sometimes when you've got valid points, I'm just thinking she's off again,
Mm,
and I get defensive and I'm just thinking like, you know, either move forward just to make life easier, or actually, no, that's not right. Even though I haven't listened, I haven't thought about, well, what is she actually saying? Is there anything, is there anything in there? Like, is she telling me how she's feeling? Am I lumping how she's feeling in with how she's making me feel in this moment?
mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, like as your husband, as your partner, that should be my priority, making sure that you're okay. And I think taking a combative stance like that as just adds to the fire. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
especially if you think you're not wrong, like you just can't be wrong.
mm,
It's you, and how you're making me feel. You'll never take that into account. And you being like a lot more laid back, I'm 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 getting I'm getting myself triggered, and I'm like you'll be like, fine, where's this? I'm like, what do you think? I'm like, whoa, you didn't even like come at me. Do you know what I
I
mean?
think I think I've had to remind you a couple times.
Of
I
course.
don't know if you've naturally felt it, but
Oh
like
no, I'm not claiming that. But when you are reminding me, boy, is
you
it
like
like
fully shouting in the middle of the room, like, why are you
I'm like,
shouting?
holy crap. Do you know what? I'm like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, what? I'm looking at you because I'm looking at your face.
And I'm
Like,
peaceful as hell.
as hell. Like,
Yeah.
you might have some loud bellowing voice. Like I'm just like,
Like the other day.
Obviously, even just then, we came back in with the baby, right? I was standing there, and you were talking about, oh, we must sweep this like dirt up, like
From your
from
shoes.
it was, you know what I mean? From this, but I'm thinking like, okay, all right, yeah, no worries, of course we'll sweep it up. But then I've got the baby there, and you're standing there, and you're like, in a playful way, you're like, oh my god, man, you're holding onto this baby like it's a doll. Move out of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm moving. I'm like, I look at her face, and I'm like, oh, she's not angry. She's not really coming at me.
No, I
I'm
just
like,
closed the door at this
I'm
point.
like, man, and I just realize it makes you realize that when there's that person not being combative, like how combative you are. Whether I want to victimize myself and say, oh, it's just a reflex, because before when we were arguing, it's still my shit. You
Mm,
know what I mean? It's still something I'm doing. It's making
take that.
oh sorry. It's still something I'm doing that's making our interactions difficult and
Good for you.
challenging and adding pressure onto you. So yeah. One thing I would say to you is like, I don't know, I'm not one to give advice. Who am I? But one thing I'm learning from this is, if you are in a position where you and your partner are saying, well, I need this, and the other person is saying, well, I need this, you know, if you take those steps like with all earnestness and genuinity, the other person hasn't got something to fight against, and then they have to accept. Well, hopefully they'll see it will hold up a mirror as to what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Because I know
Mm.
I'm listening. I've got boys, and we're talking about misses will never understand. That's just what they're like. Blah 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 rah 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 rah. It's just a common trope. I'm sure you girls get together, and you're always like, oh, men, blah, 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 blah. But when you two are together and one person actually tries to make a change, I think you know, and really commits to that, I think it's just going to show the other person as well what they need to do. And yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't open to that or open to seeing that before, because I don't think I'm perfect. But I thought, you know what, in our interactions, you know, I'm the reasonable, but clearly I'm contributing 50+%.
I think my approach to this whole thing is when it reaches a point where you feel like you're really taking from each other, the only thing to do is to give back to yourself. And you owe yourself much more than you owe the other person. And the way I'm seeing it is, let's say I am, treating you terribly and you're going to run for the hills. The next person I ever meet will run for the hills too, unless I iron out these things that are burdening somebody else or disrespecting somebody else or troubling somebody else. Or if I don't carry forward, if I continue to carry forward bags and luggage that I've been carrying for 20 years, you know what I mean? And
Mm,
I think I'm not trying to really change our relationship. I'm trying to change hmm, my approach to relationships. And so many of you, I spoke on episode 11 too, but so many of you were like, oh my God, you must have real bad trauma that you've not dealt with. I need you all to understand that, like, anyone can deal with trauma, anyone can go to counseling, but when I don't, did you listen to the last episode? I'm not upset.
yeah,
Did you actually?
yeah,
You listened to my last
of
episode.
course.
What was it about?
Oh no, I listened to the one where we were on. I
Yeah,
haven't listened to other one since.
this is a bad tendency of yours, but it's okay. And
I'm on episode 10.
well, you've not listened to all 10 episodes, but that's okay.
No,
I don't need you to listen, genuinely. You don't have to listen. The reason why I asked you is because I wasn't sure if you'd heard what I'd said or not.
no.
Okay. Well, what I said in the last episode was, I forgot what I was saying now because of your whole back and forth. But
Did you listen to the last episode?
no, but I was going to tell you something about the last episode, but I can't remember now because you went back and forth.
You're talking about yes, fixing yourself for not just where you're at now, but where you can be in the future.
Okay, yeah. So I basically explained to everybody, like, when I met this person, I was really sporadic, and this person was never sporadic as a person who was quite grounded. And I used to call you my therapist, and I thought it was quite endearing, but it
Mm-mm-mm.
became a burden. But then also, some of the emotions that I felt from the trauma as a child and as a teenager, like the lack of engagement, the lack of interest, the lack of what I felt was a lack of duty of care. When those traits started to show its face in our marriage, and I almost felt those coming from you, it's like I didn't. prepare myself for this. This person who's helped me heal this thing is almost re-traumatizing me, and I didn't know how to deal with that, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I think it's not about just like, something bad happening to a person and you just being like, right, you go talk to Karen in this room, and once you spoke to Karen, it's over. And this is why I wanted to talk about it on this podcast because I want to normalize that in everyone's situation, you can talk to a counselor, you can talk to a therapist, but it's always going to rear its head. And this is why I've chosen this year intentionally and especially to make sure that no matter who reveals themselves to me or how they show themselves to me, that I know how to move forward. You
Mm.
know what I mean?
Mm.
But that's the update from us in regards to, unless you have anything more to say in regards
No,
to the episode 10. Okay, so episode 10, that's our little update. We did feel like we owed it to you all to chat. We are still working through our marriage. Um, I do hope that we reach a place where we've been before. Or better actually.
a better place, man. That's
Yeah.
the goal. I just, I don't know, man. The dream would be to just like rediscover each other and I don't know, like fall more in love with the person you are now than the person you were initially when first fell in love.
Okay.
I love that. I love to like, you know, spend quality time, day, and find actually, you know, Elia 2024 is, you know, is like, oh, I actually like Elia 2024 better than I like Elia, 2019.
Okay. And when you say like you want to date and things like that, how do you intend to ensure that you show up in those ways?
What do you mean?
You say I want to date, I want to do this.
Yeah,
Like,
plan things, be spontaneous, you know,
what is spontaneous to you?
to me is doing something that's, unplanned, unexpected, and being, I don't know, being bold enough to do that.
Bold how?
I don't know, just
We didn't intend to have this conversation,
yeah,
but here we are. Go ahead.
I mean, like, not worry about whether you're gonna like it or not. Just do it. You're putting them facial expressions.
Because I'm trying to find a way to communicate this to you. I think that you always confuse spontaneity and boldness for like statement. Like, for example, you would take me as a surprise to like a bougie apartment in London Bridge and go to the Shard. I find with you, it's either that or nothing. And my issue has never been, I want more of that. I've never said to you once, I want more of that. I've
Uh-huh.
never said you bought me a Louis Vuitton bag. I never said, oh my God, please give me more bags.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Like, I didn't even ask you for that bag, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I did, I don't know. But I can't remember asking you for that bag. I feel like I'm trying to find a way to explain this to you because I feel like I've explained this so many times. And maybe, no, not maybe. The way I'm explaining it is not allowing you to hear it.
Mm.
I worry because you're still saying the same things that you've said for quite a long time,
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, I need to be more bold, I need to be this. I agree. If we're on the way to book a flight to France, do it. I'm not saying don't, but equally, like, and I tell everybody this in a marriage and in a relationship, you've got to be happy with your day to day. You've got to find a way to fill each other's glass day to day, in between the shitty nappies, in between the tiredness, in between the just getting home from work. That's what I think for me, 2024 Aaliyah is missing in this marriage. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I just want to clear that up. And that's not me saying that you're not enough, but I know that you will book me, you will pay for me to go anywhere. You would literally say, here's this. That's not what I want though, like with respect, I earn my own money. I could take myself wherever I want. I could
Mhm,
buy myself whatever I want.
mhm.
Yeah, it's nice to get it for free, you know. No, I'm not being rude though.
You just being your blunt self.
No, it is nice to get it for free, but sometimes it's not really free if it's emotionally charging to me because I'm getting a free item, but like I'm emotionally exhausted. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
So like the small things, man, I tell you like, and I don't know, you never sit and say to me, I like that or I don't like that. But like I've stopped doing it now. I'll be honest, I shouldn't have because again, I want to show up this as this person I am. I don't want somebody else to change my behavior. But I go shopping every single week. I'll hold it's not great for the environment. No, it's not, but I need it for my mental health, okay? So leave me and let me just buy shit, okay? And every time I go shopping, no matter whether that's at Selfridges, Primark, New Look, I up until this year, like the year ago, I would never come back without getting you something. A
Mm,
pair of socks, a hat, a t-shirt, because it's not just about buying you something, it's about knowing that even when I was there, I'm still thinking of you. I want you to, feel like I thought of you, even if you didn't want the item.
mm.
Your ass will just go and be like, you didn't tell me what you wanted. And I'm like, yo, what the heck, bro? Like you go to the shop and you're like, you could have texted me. And I'm like, are you like fucking GoPuff or something? You don't even know what that is, do you? It's basically like a cool, like a new Deliveroo kind of thing. But you, no, seriously though.
Give and go puff free plugs on your podcast.
Yeah, go to no. This is not sponsored by GoPuff. They could have sponsored us, but they chose not. Now, just joking. No, but seriously, like it's those small things. But again, I'm trying to unwind all the negative
Mm,
interactions that we've had and all the bumping heads, and I'm trying to take away from it feeling intentional.
uh-huh.
And I am trying to make it like, like I do think it's a culture thing. I do think because like your dad, for example, he would say, I will buy your mum whatever she wants. And I used to always say, but what about the things that she doesn't ask for, didn't I?
Mm,
And he just couldn't understand. And that's not me giving you a get out of jail free card, but that's me saying, I think because you say this to me all the time, whatever you want, you always get so distressing. And like, whatever you want, I'll give to you. If you want my bank account, take my bank account.
do you know what it is? It's like,
You do say that all the time. I'm
but you
like,
know what it is? It's like I don't, like I told you, like I said on like I'm becoming you, like I said on episode 10. you know, uh, like I'm like I like this. I am living my dream, like having having our family, like us, our kids, like having roof over our heads, how we're
Mhm.
building our life. I'm living my dream, so I don't give a crap. Everything I do, but I get that might be like the ultimate for me, but
Mm.
it's not for you, and that's not what you need or want. Do you know what I mean?
No, because I do think like lots of your love language is the opposite to mine. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mm. It's, it's hard, and I do think like I'm not gonna lie. I do think you've put since we've been at this, I think you've put a lot of effort and thought into actually changing yourself for the better, you
Mm.
know? And I just being 100% honest, I don't think I've done half the work that you have. And I'm not talking about just the actions, I'm talking about in-depth look at myself and what I need to change. Do you know what I mean? I'm aware of it, think peripherally. I've not. You've gone to some like I'll give you your credit 100%. I think you've really looked long and hard and deep into yourself and what you don't like about yourself, what you'd want to change for
True.
yourself. And I don't think I've done that work, and I don't think I I think I have to commend you for what you've done. And how well you're doing. Honestly, like you don't need commending for it, but I haven't. It's obvious to me. It's clear that I'm not doing the work to improve myself like you are as a person. I'm not trying to give you a
I'm
flowers.
gonna cry.
Oh, that's it. One tear,
I'm sick of crying.
1-0. Yeah, do some of your digital stuff. Put a one and a zero there.
Oh my god.
But
No,
no, honestly, it's evident to me. Please don't think it's not being seen or appreciated.
but how do you think that then you can do that for yourself?
I have to take time and I have to take a long, hard look at myself and really, really think. I don't know, man. I don't sound cheesy, man, and I don't want to like say things that sound like I'm at work or I'm in a business meeting, like take notes and whatever. I have to. I have to. I think I have to. I think there's a lot of things that are glaring to me. Like for example, you know, I'm not all sunshine and rainbows. Do you know what I mean? I snap back.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And I never, in my mind, I never thought that's not me. I never thought that. I never thought I contributed to our marriage in that way. But you taking all that time to work on yourself massively highlighted to me.
mm,
Like there was several times a day,
mm,
and essentially it's basically me taking out whatever internal stress and pressure I've got and putting that on you. And
mm,
that's not on. You know what I mean? Like you spend a lot of time thinking about where does that come from for you? What are your triggers? How can you stop yourself? What do you want to be? And I've not done the work. Just being honest. And I have to. There's a ton. There's a ton of things. I can think of 5 things right now off the top of my head that are like the 5 biggest things that I would change about
no,
me. It's very bloody vulnerable sharing that with the world.
no,
Do you know
I'll
what I
tell you
mean?
privately.
Well, I could tell you privately. I'd love to tell you privately. I'm not sure I'm ready to share it with all of you lot. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be wrong. Sometimes I spill the tea, but not the whole bloody teapot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Let a brother heal first and then come back to you. I don't want to be walking the streets as an open wound and someone on the train goes,
Ow, that actually hurt.
sorry.
You know what's crazy actually? I went to an event. I went to a couple of events, and after speaking to you, I felt so different. Like, 'cause I thought, shit, man, these people know, like, they know my shit.
Yeah, 100. There's people watching this that are going to be like, you know, oh, that's interesting.
No, but you know what? I made this podcast because I want to normalize conversations. I want to help you guys whilst helping myself, genuinely. And I want people to know that, like, I was speaking to some of you yesterday on TikTok Live, that everybody was like, some of you who listened to the podcast was on the live and was like, what happened to the counselling? I said, my counsellor, I had years of counselling, and I remember she did a full circle counselling, counselor, typical counsellor moment on me. And I remember she said something like, so what was it then that made you feel like, I can't remember what she said. I remember where I was sitting, the purple chair, the tissues, the window, and she goes, I tell her my answer. She goes, and then I didn't realize, and she was like, is that not where we began? I think I've done everything to help you. And in the moment, I couldn't understand. I've never watched a movie, seen a
Mm.
documentary, seen a TV show where your counselor says, "Oh, that's enough." You know what I mean? You just see them saying, come to me as long as you feel better. And I never understood until I made this podcast that I want to normalize speaking out loud. I want to normalize, like some people say, oh, you are how you speak about yourself. Yeah, but no, it's okay to say, I am the shit today. And it's okay tomorrow to say, you know what, the way I behaved yesterday was not my best self. And unless you can really verbalize that and speak that out loud, you're never going to be a better person. And that's just that.
That's
So,
some profound-ish.
so we wanted to come back. We wanted to update you. We wanted to tell you all, got a bit of a chill because it's a little bit
That we're
cold,
moving forward.
that we're moving forward. We're trying to move forward.
Definitely.
We're going to try and do more and do better for each other, for ourselves, for our kids. And the next episode, I swear, not one tear will be dropped because I can't. This has become like,
Can't make any promises if I'm here, you know what I mean?
you won't be here on the next one now. We're going to kick you to the curb.
Sorry,
The
you guys
next.
need a break. This is too much, Salah.
The next episode will not be a tearful one because we just cannot. But on the back of that, because we do get so many questions, I want to ask you,
Mm.
give me 3 things about marriage you would miss if you weren't married. For the listeners, he's just thinking. Farhan does this thing where he just sits in absolute silence until he's thought.
What I do.
Because the
Because
silence will confuse the
I don't,
listeners.
yeah, because it's 3 things, and I want to make sure that they're the right 3 things.
What's wrong with this phone? Does it not?
I
Is it your watch?
not my email. Right. So I don't know. First one would be having someone who you know is 100% like down for you. Like, I don't know about you guys, your relationships and your marriages, but it's with absolute certainty, if there's anyone in this world that I can rely on, even if we weren't married, it would be Aaliyah. So, like having somebody that you can trust implicitly, that's one. Um, Number two would be losing out on all the memories that you guys already have. Because I can imagine like if we weren't together, it would be just like hard to look through like family photos. Can you imagine like 20, 30 years down the line and you're like, you're in your 50s and you're just like, oh yeah, I remember this holiday to Oman and
I'll
like
be honest, I
like
don't think that would upset me.
oh, I'm talking about me.
No, 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 but you were
I'm
like,
talking about, yeah, because it would be like, look, can you imagine, even if you did, let's say you did move on, let's say you did find somebody else,
mm,
there's a whole chunk of your life that is going to be awkward to look back over because clearly the whoever you're with is not going to be comfortable with you reminiscing about these amazing memories you had with another woman.
but this is why I feel like the work needs to be done internally, because I know now that if me and you never worked, if I was single for the rest of my life, or if I was in a partnership, um, it's how I internalize those emotions from that relationship that would only play a part in a future relationship anyway.
Mm.
I don't think it would be awkward, genuinely. For me,
No, but I'm just saying that as an example. Do you know what I mean? Like for I don't know, man. There would always be for you say for me, but for me, I don't know. I I I couldn't imagine like doing so much, having so many important things and so many memories and so many beautiful memories, like our kids being born. And I don't know, people are in that situation, I'm sure, out there, and after
that's
having,
the thing. They're sorry to interrupt you, but so many people are in like broken relationships and they moved on, had another baby. But I think this also needs to be normalized. When you have a baby and a marriage with somebody, but forget about the marriage, just the baby. The fear of that not working and having to like potentially step and do that again, that scares the shit out of me.
like
I'll be honest.
yeah, when I, man, the most like one of the most difficult times of my life when we had Jai, and you just given birth, and obviously, no, I'm so- I'm just a your typical guy who's
Just the
never had a baby
guy.
before.
The
I'm just a
guy.
guy. Yeah. So you're like, whoa, she's really off with me. You don't even realize that. Oh, she's been through all of that, and here's the knock-on effects postpartum. I'm like, she's really off with me. Can you imagine? We just went through all of this, had a baby, and we break up with a newborn baby.
That's
Oh,
really common
that's like
though.
it is. It really is because it changes your life. So it's one of those things like having all those memories and all those things that you guys have overcome. Like that's a bond that's like so impossible,
Sacred.
sacred. But not only that, it's like impossible for someone else to understand. Sometimes there's things that we don't even need to communicate amongst ourselves
Mm.
that we just feel, and it's like having that chunk of your life closed off and gone. Oh man, do you know what I mean? Let alone adding, not being able to add to it.
I agree, but you're always like a very far-fetched. It would never be like closed off and gone. Like we have
Oh,
boys, and I honestly think we'd be great friends. I think if I had got a husband called Errol, me and Errol at 67, seriously, I think you and Errol would be great friends. Like that's the kind
nah,
of
Errol would be my op forever. Be like, yo, Errol,
no, but
I'll be
see,
tripping a Zimmer frame.
I
I'll
would
kick a
not.
Zimmer
If I
frame.
had to date again, genuinely, if I had to date again, if I found myself in a position to date again, I wouldn't date anybody who couldn't get along with you. I just period. I'm not doing any of that. I can't be dealing with any of that. My whole purpose of being around now is my children.
Mm,
If my partner could never get along with you, I can't help you. Like genuinely, because I'm not stuck with them. I'm stuck with you.
I don't know about that. I didn't hear anything after Errol. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, give
I'm
me a
looking at
third
every old
thing.
Jamaican man like with evil eyes now.
Give me a third thing, man.
I don't know. The third thing would be I would genuinely miss like just seeing you every single day. Like even now when we're watching this podcast, like through this little triangle of a microphone thing, and I'm watching you talk and you smile, and I'm seeing you come into yourself, seeing the light hit you, light brown eyes. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, Wallahi, I'm just thinking to myself, like, can you imagine not being able to like see this person like every day grow, like smile, laugh. Do you know what I mean? I love you. I love seeing you happy.
Mm.
And I think not being able to witness that part or be a part of your life to share those moments with you would be an absolute travesty.
And please, no balls held. 3 worst things about marriage. If you could just cancel them now or stop it right now, what is it?
Not having free time when you need free time.
Not having what?
Free time when you need free time.
Okay.
Like, sometimes you don't understand what the last 15 minutes of a TV show on your phone does for you mentally. But in that moment in time, your partner might need you. You might be in the middle of something, and it's just like, oh, you know what I mean? Um, the other thing is the accountability. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes when you live by yourself, it's very easy to just float in your own world and tell yourself you're amazing and you're great. But when you're with somebody, you're responsible to that person and accountable to and for that person. And sometimes, sometimes like having a mirror held up ain't always pretty. You ain't looking your best all the time, you know? So that's incredibly challenging, especially for, an ego-driven male who's just like, yeah, I'm the guy, you know? No one's going to tell you you're not the guy more than the person who spends all their time with you and who, at some point or another, you're going to let down, you're going to disappoint, you're not going to be there for them like you should be. So that's challenging. Just being honest with you.
And the
Um,
third?
third most difficult part about marriage.
No, not most difficult one. If you could just write it off.
Oh no, this I don't know. I'm talking about the difficult things. I would never write off the accountability.
No, no, no. If you could just write off that one thing that just wasn't a part. That's the only way we're gonna get like the real shit.
Like write off, that's hard, man. Listen, I'm a deep thinker. Like you can't just tell me to write things off about write bad things off about marriage. Let me think.
Feel like we need elevator music.
Do,
Do,
do, do,
do.
do.
I know you're thinking. I'll provide the
Go.
music. Do, 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 do,
I'm just thinking
do.
about better elevator music now. I'm thinking I could do a better one.
Okay, give us your third one.
If I can write one thing off about marriage, it would be amnesia for the little things, not holding on to the little things. Like sometimes because you're around each other all the time, yeah, you'll remember like little things that they did a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and that will compound onto the thing, and then just a little thing becomes a big thing. So if we couldn't sweat the small stuff, like genuinely, if there was an agreement contract on what the small stuff are, and we never sweated them, that would be dope.
I think we do need to normalize though that if you spend every single day with somebody for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you're going to see every side of that person that you just don't like. It's just a fact.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that is our episode. I hope we gave you enough info. We're not going to resurface this conversation now because I just don't I think we've said all we need to say.
I think so.
But he will make another appearance if you want him to. I had to drag him on like this because this is his uniform. If you're watching, he literally either wears this or the snuddy, and every time I say I'm going to film something, he's like, "Let me get ready." I'm like, "Sir, we don't have time to
See
get
my
ready."
mom. I didn't get on a fit. I literally cleaned up the baby's food. That he decided to throw around downstairs. She puts me on a podcast for the entire world. That's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, everywhere you get your podcast. One that you're all liking and subscribing to, commenting on, sharing, reposting. All of that is happening, and I'm just like, this is peak.
Well, we've actually left the house to do a bit of exercise this morning, and you left this way. So, in my opinion, the way you are comfortable carrying yourself at the bare minimum, like I'm the same. Look at the state of me. However, you decided to wear these stripy trousers and
Yeah.
pink jumper. Like,
It's not pink, it's red. Don't violate me. And I'm wearing my favorite, my redneck Ralph Lauren hat, going hunting. But anyway, dead jokes aside, yeah, if I leave the house like this, they can get stuff. It's my house. I pay my bills.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if you leave the house like this and you're happy for the public to see you, then these people will
Nah,
speak to you.
these are different kind of people. These are sip and salad people. They're special people.
We saw
They're not.
people.
They're not your regular civilians.
We see people and they're like, "Oh, is he not in his snuddy today?" So this is who he is. Like,
Listen, you pre too much. Yeah, stop watching.
right. That is the end of the episode. Next week's episode, we're doing no crying. No one's crying. No one is doing anything. He will not be here for next week's episode.
Unfortunately,
But people have been saying Far needs his own podcast. Good luck with that. Far, you don't want to see that. Something nearly came out of me then. No.
See, this is what I'm talking about. She's doing the work. She's in that spiritual gym lifting every day. Like I'm repping my negative emotions. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Okay, that's the end of the episode. If you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers.
Almost.
And we just started this. I just started this just what, like 4 months ago? 3 months ago? So 1,000 subs is amazing. Thank you all so much. If you are listening on any of the other podcast platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, any of your platforms that you're listening on, please do follow, give us 5 stars. If you don't think we deserve 5 stars, or I deserve 5 stars, hold it for the next episode. Thank you all for listening so much.
Yes. And just remember, my wife is amazing. You love her podcast. This needs to be shared with other people so they can get this healing tea. Okay? So subscribe, like, share, tell everyone you know. Reshare on your stories. Please. I love you, babe.
Okay. Don't blow a kiss.
Wait, wait, wait.